Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
Hi, everyone. This is Tammy Patzer, and I'm really excited to introduce today's guest, Charles Theisen. Charles is the business empowerment specialist. He is a sought-after speaker, wealth strategist, and business maverick who has been in the industry for nearly 2 decades. He is an auxiliary member of the Tax Master Network. His business philosophy is own nothing and control everything through his one-of-a-kind tax saving structures and strategies. Charles has been a caregiver many times in his life, and he's founded a nonprofit organization for cancer patients and caregivers because of his passion for making a difference, and not only people's businesses, but for their personal lives as well. Charles empowers his clients to pay less taxes and have more time, money, and freedom starting right now. So first of all, Charles, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Tammy.
I wanted to get started and ask you a very direct question. What makes you different than a financial planner, a financial advisor, or a CPA, for instance?
Well, thank you for that. What makes us different is everybody's familiar with, and I'll call that common terminology or common roles that we play in preparing financially, such as financial advisor, financial planner, CPA. These are common. But what we do, what makes us different is we're very uncommon in that even though I'm not any one of those three, my team and I compromise that plus the uncommon information that people have never heard of before. In other words, there is another industry besides the banking industry and the financial industry that most people have never been made aware of the tax saving strategies there and some of the other strategies that are there. So we make that available to them. We pull back the curtain, Tammy, and we share the secrets with them. That's what makes us different.
So I've heard you speak before, and you talk about the whole truth. And I know that it is very interesting because oftentimes we don't know what we don't know. So right. I wanted to ask you something about how do you empower your clients with what you call the whole truth?
Well, being in the financial industry, I have great respect for those who help people make more money and grow the money and manage the money. And of course, that's what we need to do in order to get enough set aside for retirement and have peace of mind. Now, it's true. So that's the truth part, that there are many excellent professionals in the financial arena, CPAs as well, tax attorneys, everybody that's involved. They're doing a great job for the most part. However, the whole truth is what I found over the last 10 years. There's a whole other industry that has so many different strategies that I had never heard of, but that's not why it's important. What's important is my clients hadn't heard of it. A lot of the CPAs I work with hadn't heard of it. A lot of the financial planners I talked to, they couldn't represent it because they were captive with their company maybe, but they'd never heard of it either. So why is there so little information about this one industry that provides people so much comfort, less risk and less taxes, and in many cases, just gives them freedom that is unprecedented? That's the whole truth to me. And it's great to know the truth, but when we're in court, right, and we put our hand on the Bible and we have when they swear you in as a witness, to swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, I'm here to tell you the whole truth.
So can you tell me more about the whole truth? Because we're all living in kind of this, we think we know.
Of course.
We really think we know.
Well, yes, and we've been conditioned, right? Would you agree?
Yes.
Just by default. I mean, you're in the grocery line, the magazine's right there, there's an egg on it, and it's cracked, and it says, will you have enough for your retirement? So when you look in that magazine, you see the same thing every year after year. But what's in this other industry, what I'm going to reveal to people, is never in the magazine. So the consumer doesn't get any exposure, whether it's through magazine or, the television. There's a lot that is available that we want to make available to them so they can have more peace of mind.
Do you have any illustrations that you can give me so I can visualize that, how empowerment works? Yes,
I do. And I want to stress it's not wealth management, it's wealth empowerment. So, today, every corporation out there has some app that has a game on it. There's gamers. We like to play games, right? So would it be okay if we'll play a game and I'll illustrate to you what empowerment is? How's that?
Oh, I love that. Okay, I'm game.
I hope your audience likes it too. So what color is a stop sign?
Red and white.
Red and white, okay. And how many sides does it have?
8.
That's right. It's an octagon. So
octagon.
Perfect. So what's another kind of road sign?
Yield.
Okay, yield sign. And how many sides does that have?
3.
And what color is a yield sign?
I think it's gold and black.
Okay, black and gold or black and yellow, right?
Yes.
Okay. So here's the game part. This is a stop sign, and you're right. Stop signs are red and white.
Yes.
But so are yield signs.
Uh-oh. So, okay, I don't know why I thought it was yellow and black, but I'm looking at this yield sign that you're showing me, and it's definitely an upside-down triangle that's red with a white background with the word yield in red.
Right.
So
Now,
I'm wrong.
Well, the point is not to show you that you're wrong about a sign, because if it's about a sign, it's no big deal, right?
Right.
It's not going to affect your life. But we just showed you that, and I've showed this to over 5,000 people. I've asked that question to over 5,000 people, or been in an audience where that's been asked. And you know what, Tammy? Everybody says the same thing. You notice I asked you what color was a stop sign, and you said red and white.
Yeah.
But then I didn't tell you the second sign, did I? I said, what's another road sign?
Right. I said a yield sign.
And you said yield sign. And everybody says that. Isn't that amazing?
It is.
99% of the time they say yield sign. I don't have to tell them. So I want to go real slow on this part, because this is the most important discovery that a person can make, is that something that they think is true, what happens if it's not true? Isn't that important to know that?
Yeah, it kind of blows your mind to think that what if everything you thought was true isn't? So back to what you were talking about, what is true?
Right. So with the yield sign, now I didn't make this up myself. You can, when you leave here and you go out and you drive and you see yield signs, first of all, who are you going to think of when you see the yield sign?
I'm going to think of Charles Tyson, because he revealed the truth about, hey, I thought a yield sign was yellow and gold, or yellow or black gold. And in reality, it was really red and white with red letters. So, of course, I'm always going to think of you, Charles, because of that. So when you use that as an example, tell me more about, we've basically just blown everyone's mind with that example. So what are some of the challenges or problems that people are having today that you could help them with?
Well, you see, before we step away from this, the challenges they're having and the problems that they're having. To preface your next question, the biggest challenge is not about road signs. I mean, it's no big deal, right? If the road sign is a different color. But what if something you thought to be true about money, or you thought to be true about your taxes? What if you think that's true because that's all you've ever heard, that's what you've been conditioned to hear? You don't actively go look for other things. You just take the word of your professionals, you take the word of whoever it is you're working with, and you don't always have the same one. People do change professionals and they go get second opinions, just like, God forbid, you have a surgery or a health problem and one doctor tells you need a major surgery. You always get a second opinion, right?
Yes.
Well, when's the last time you got a second opinion on your money or your taxes? Maybe you don't need to. You've had the same person for 20 years. I've had the same person for many, many years. But a lot of things that I found out, my own CPA, who I've had for 28 years, was not aware. It's not their job. They don't do it. So unless we're proactive, unless we realize, oh my gosh, something I thought was true isn't true, I've got to do something about that. The biggest problem, to answer your question, and the challenge that people have is they don't even know what they don't know. In other words, their problem, they think, is I'm not making enough money yet. I don't have enough money saved for retirement. Does that sound common? That's what you hear?
Exactly.
It's too late. It's too late for me. How do I get started? So it's not what you make. It's what you finish that line for me.
Earn.
It's what you earn or keep. That's right. Okay.
It's not what you make. It's what you keep. And most of us don't understand that concept.
Well, what we do is we always try to just make more money. You go to your wealth manager, which you should. You go to whoever, your neighbors, your investment buddies, and you're trying to make more money to solve a long-term problem. But the biggest problem is you're missing a piece and you don't know it. That there's more information that's available that the wealthy people, elite wealthy people, can afford to hire dozens of people to go minimize their taxes. And over the last 10 years, as I found out all these strategies, I also found out that most of the professionals that I knew were aware of some of them, but not all of them. So what makes us different, what makes empowerment different, is we're going to give you all those secrets so you can take advantage of them.
I think that's really important because I know that many people, that they think they've been told by different gurus over the year. One of them is don't have any debt, pay off all your bills and don't have any debt. Other things are that your 401k is going to be enough. And some people think that if they have $1 million saved, that's going to be enough. And with the cost of living and everything, and especially how long people are living after they retire,
Exactly.
I doubt $1 million is enough to have a lifestyle that you might have, because those are just some things that I can think of, off of the top of my head, that I know many people are told, and some people really buy into that, and many people lost in 2008, and probably now there's a lot of people who are going to be in a little bit of a panic over losses and thinking, oh, it's too late for me. And it is because we don't know what we don't know. And we know that no matter what has happened, the wealthy seem to stay wealthy, and they have the legacy of transferring that wealth on, multi-generations. And then there's the rest of the people who, were out there, we're more worried about the stop and the yield signs, but it really is the sign of the times that we don't know what we don't know. So
what they're really doing is trying to solve the problem that they know they have with common strategies. And if their income is uncommon, okay,
right,
if you have an uncommon income, you should have an uncommon strategy, right?
Right.
But if you don't know what they are, then why would the person making $250,000 a year use the same strategy as the person who's making $80,000 a year?
Right. So
they don't know where to go.
Who is your best client? Who do you think of all the people out there? Well, I personally think no matter where you're at, you could be new to the workforce or new to entrepreneurship, because you're going to be looking at what you need to do. But right now, who would you say the empowerment system is for? Who could benefit from it, like right this split second?
The most important thing is somebody who has the right kind of mindset. You see, because we're taking a condition that you've had for years. If I say the word IRS, most people say fear or too much money. If I say the word taxes, I don't like them. And if we're going to bring to the forefront information you've never seen before, you got to be open-minded, right, about that. So the ideal client is somebody who wants a system, who's open-minded, who knows that there's things that they're missing. I mean, they know it in their gut that there's something, but they're working so hard and they're trying to solve just that one problem working. They wind up getting a second job, or they put more effort into their business. The typical client is normally talked about in terms of how much money they make or their socioeconomic status. We'll help anybody. We're not a wealth management firm where we have, $1 million minimum to invest, because that's not what we do. We help the person that knows they need a system, has an open mind, they want to learn, and they want to know how they can do something that today, it will affect them today and in the future, and they can take a hold of it themselves. For instance, if I said to you, are you aware that there's a way that you can get a bank? We can actually get a bank to finance a retirement account for you. You put in $10,000 a year or $20,000 a year, and they'll match it 2 or 3 times. They may put in $60,000 a year in your retirement account, so that your retirement, when you get it, is twice as much as it would have been if you paid for it by yourself.
Wow.
Are you aware of that?
No, and right there, in my mind, I'm going, wow, I didn't know that. That was exactly what I was thinking. And then, of course, my next thought was, well, I want to know that. How do I do that?
Right, so you would be an ideal client. It doesn't matter if you make $75,000 a year or the dual income household of 125, or whether you're an 8 or 9 figure earner. Anybody that is open-minded enough to hear some of these wealth secrets or strategies that are uncommon is an ideal client for us.
Wow. Because I can, literally I'm thinking to myself, okay, so how would you do that? Because many people and their whole savings system is they overpay their taxes and then they get a refund.
I mean, of course.
And that's, they think that's good because then they have money, like every April, or May, people are like, I got my refund check. Now I can go on the vacation. I can go do that. But I always thought that was kind of an odd way to save, because it's like putting money into a zero interest place, and you're basically loaning the government your money, when if you took that same money, you could be doing something with it that could help you to benefit in the long run.
That's right. I think we've all been there, with the exception, the exception of a wealthy family passing on to their children. Imagine if you were in college and the own nothing, control everything is J.D. Rockefeller's famous quote that, the path to success is to own nothing and control everything. Well, imagine you're away all the time you were in college. Were you ever with someone their family was ultra wealthy? If you were sitting at the table and you had a conversation about a car you were going to buy, and then this other student, says, well, we don't buy cars. What do you mean? You don't have a car? No, we don't buy them. The trust buys them. Okay, I've heard of trust, but how does that work exactly? Well, there's no school you can go to find that out. You see? Same thing with taxes. Taxes, only three things can happen with taxes, right? They can either go up, or they can go down, or they can stay the same. So I used to be, just like you said, many years ago, 30, 40 years ago, I grew up in a family where it was great to get your tax refund. So we want to help those people too. We'll help anyone that's willing to learn, understand that. Imagine you give me $250 a month every month all year, and then I give you $3,000 back at the end of the year. That's what they're really doing, isn't it?
Yes.
They're prepaying, they're letting the government use their money because they like the feeling of getting the $3,000. But if someone were to show them, don't give it to them. Keep the $3,000 and put it over here in this kind of an account where it's going to do this, this, and this. Well, nobody's ever showed them that before. They've never had exposure to it.
Right.
Even our 401k system. Let's play another game, okay?
Okay.
Our 401k system. I won't go into the history of it, but let's just say this. You ask me for a loan, and I write you a check for $10,000, and I give you the check. And you say, what are the two questions you're going to ask me?
Do I have to pay it back? It's a loan. And what is the interest going to be? I guess what are the terms of the loan?
Well, Tammy, things are going real well for me right now. So no, you don't have to pay it back. Probably in about 30 years, I'll get you to pay it back. And the interest rate, I'm going to wait until 30 years goes by. And then when I see what I need at the end of 30 years, then I'm going to determine how much interest I'm going to charge you. So would you take my check? Knowing that you don't know what the interest is going to be, would you take it?
I would definitely hesitate. I don't think I would, because although 30 years, I don't know that, I'm one of those people that I would it probably depends on how much
I charge you 50% interest.
Yeah, it'd be if it was 50%, what would that be on $10,000?
That'd be a lot over 30 years because it's compounding.
Compounded. Yeah. No, I would say no, thank you.
Exactly.
But we probably do it all the time anyway. I don't know.
What do you think a 401k is?
Oh, okay.
Right?
Yeah.
You put the money for it now, and you don't know what the tax rate's going to be when you take it out. Now, most people don't know this. Go ahead and ask me, what was the highest tax rate ever in the United States?
What was the highest tax rate ever in the United States? I'm afraid.
Okay. Well, right now, if you make $400,000, right, or near about that, it's 39%.
Wow.
And I know there's going to be 8-figure earners watching this, so you guys need to know this too. Everybody needs to know this. Even when Kennedy was president, it was 77%. That wasn't that long ago. Can you imagine paying 77% tax?
Almost 3/4 of your income.
And in World War II, it was 94% here in the United States of America.
Wow. So 39% sounds pretty darn good. When you look
just like the shoe sale. You ladies, you know about shoe sales, right? You find out about shoe sales and the word goes out, okay? I want the word to go out about financial empowerment, because right now taxes are on sale.
I get it. Okay. So in other words, you want to be taxed at the lowest possible rate that so that you're operating with actual knowledge instead of scenarios of what it could be in 30 years or 40 years from now that you don't know. Oh, okay, I understand.
The other thing that makes a client really good for us is somebody who's very persistent. I'll tell you why. You may be aware of a Roth IRA.
Right.
Okay? Because I want to pay my taxes now while they're on sale, like we just talked about. And then the rest of my life, it'll be tax-free because I don't get charged tax on that anymore. Well, guess what? If you make too much money, the government won't allow you to do that. Did you know that? I mean, if you make over like $180,000, you cannot get a Roth IRA to start with. And I'm not a CPA. I'm not giving tax advice. I'm just saying, If you wanted one, you make too much.
Right. So that's why it's so important to work with somebody like you who has this oncoming knowledge, that so that you can start learning the things. I think education, you're an educator advocate, plus you empower people with something that all of us really, in the United States, it seems like we really do lack a lot of financial education. I mean, the only thing I learned in high school, I remember, was related to, I think we learned how to do a budget and how to write checks. But that was about what we learned. And then you go off into your life and you have to rely on people like CPAs, financial advisors, and these different people, or book authors who tell you to do these extreme things like, pay off all your debt and, live only on your paycheck, which is very difficult when wages haven't gone up, in the last 20 years. I had a question. So if I wanted to work with you, what would that look like?
Well, we have a 30-minute free consultation call for starters, okay? So you can go to Charles, WFES, that's Wealth and Freedom Empowerment System.com, and schedule a call with me, okay? And then we would go into more detail about what programs there are that we offer to you and how they work.
So it's a free 30-minute consultation. And we've talked a lot about the getting started with the right mindset. So I imagine that the person who's going to say, yes, I would like to talk with you for that 30-minute consultation, generally already has that open-mindedness that you're looking for and is willing to find out more. So you basically do an assessment.
Yeah, well, we start with my 5 steps to success, which are: number 1, begin with the end in mind. You have to know where you're going to buy an airplane ticket, So you have to know where you're going. You have to start now with an assessment. And that's, if you start now, regardless of your age, and you start compounding some of the tax situations, there's actually vehicles that, like that one I mentioned, that it's a catch-up type program, because your highest earning time is in your 50s. That's when you finally figured out and you're making the most money. So if all you need is 15 years to prepare for a fantastic retirement, you need an uncommon strategy to do that. Most people think you got to do it over your whole lifetime, right? So we assess where you're at. Then the third thing we do is we look for what's missing. I ask you all kinds of questions about, do you know about this? Do you know? So we help you find what's missing. It's like a puzzle. If you put a puzzle together and there were 3 pieces missing, you wouldn't be satisfied, would you? You'd have to go find them. Some people would. Some people would just leave it like it is, right? Say, oh, well, the person that we love working with is, no, I got to find those missing pieces. Then when we find them, then you use them. You have to think and put effort into keeping money and planning, not just going to make more money. That's where we, in America especially, we just work. Right. And if you don't do the plan, am I right? And start another business and go drive Uber and take more risk on an investment. Well, there's another way besides picking the winners all the time to leverage your time and your effort. So number 4 is think, and number 5 is celebrate. When you have something that happens, you got to celebrate it. There's a lot of energy that goes into what you're doing, and when something goes right and you celebrate, your wealth and your health are tied together quite a bit,
Yes.
And it allows you to think better. So the 5 steps to success during the call, and then we just go over how our system works so you know if it can help you. You mentioned mindset. Mm-hmm. First thing we talk about is, what's your mindset? Do you believe that it's possible? What do you think about paying taxes to the IRS? Because some people will tell you, oh no, I got to do this and I got to do that. Well, there's a judge by the name of Learned Hand who has a quote, very famous quote that we share with the people that call in about you have no patriotic duty to pay more taxes than what you owe. Right?
Right. And a lot of people think that if they pay a lot of taxes, that somehow they're a better American, when in fact, I mean, even our president said it. He said something about not paying any more taxes than you're supposed to, but there is no patriotism in overpaying as if you're suffering. It's like, what would the point be of doing that? So I think you're right. Mindset. Now, you also have created a free webinar for people to attend. Can you tell me more about that?
Yes, that's a webinar that we cover the 5 steps, the same thing we do on the call, but in a much more detailed fashion, and obviously a webinar instead of just an audio. We cover the once mindset. There's a number of different modules that we offer in our system, so we go over each of those and how, what they do. You need the mindset, of course, because if you don't have the mindset, then it's not going to work for you. Make more, keep more, capital gain strategy. That's another one of our modules. Why? Because it's better to keep more money, right? And then why would you, the more you earn, the more you pay if you didn't have to. So we show you a capital gain strategy, one of the many that are very uncommon strategies that you can use now that will give you a better lifestyle now. We talk about our asset protection vault because there are specific kinds of trusts that work better than others. Some people think that their trust is 100% protected, but I've heard a lot of stories where they're not. And if you could get one that was, you would want one because you don't want to work that hard and then have somebody take the money away because of litigation. There's 2 things that will affect you accumulating wealth for yourself and your family. And what do you think those 2 things are? That's another thing we do during the call, because we like to work with clients that are willing to engage and think. So I ask them, what do you think are the 2 biggest threats to your wealth? We just covered one of them was taxes, right?
Overpaying taxes. And then we said litigation, being sued, because people are so sue happy. It seems like, they'll try to take away other people's stuff for whatever reasons, because that's their method of becoming wealthy, is by taking other people's wealth.
All right. And the last thing in the webinar is we cover our 2-day workshop. We have a 2-day workshop that's part of our system where you can come and we all get together and you're right there, hands-on, learning all these strategies, asking questions. I bring my team. And my team is certified financial professionals. They're tax people. They're attorneys. Everybody that I met over the last 10 years since way too far back. Since 2005, I had a pretty big hiccup myself. 2005 to 2008, we had a health situation in our family. My late wife passed. I couldn't sell my business. So I was on a mission myself to never, ever be uneducated about financial things again, because what I lost in 2005 to 2008, I would not have lost if I knew what I knew now. So I had to find a way for my family to protect them from taxes, from litigation for the rest of my life. And now my bigger reason is my team and I to share that with 1 million people so that they can have that lifestyle that they know is possible. They just don't know how to get it.
Well, what I really think is phenomenal is the fact that like you said, you have a team of people there. It's like all the people you need to get answers from in order to create this time, money, wealth, freedom, and to become empowered. And that really is why you are the business empowerment specialist, is because you took the time to assemble all of these, I guess, wealth knowledge professionals, I guess would be a good way to put it. They're empowerment professionals. And when you've done that, you are really answering the calling for helping people to understand what they need to know that's uncommon to the average person. So you really are empowering the average person like me, because it's like, okay, I'm a smart professional woman, and yes, that's a true statement. However, I don't have any background really in finances, or and now here you are, and you can all of that knowledge, you've condensed it, erased years off of the learning curve for someone like me, so that I can come to you and get all these answers, and then you help me apply it to my situation and create a plan, so that I, instead of being someone who's going, oh my God, it's too late, to me saying, oh, okay, so if I do these steps in the next 10 to 15 years or whatever it is I need to do them in, I can look forward to retirement, instead of, for me, when in the 90s, I got my Social Security statement and it said I was going to get something like $900 a month, when I retired, because I had always been an employee and never made more than $30,000 a year. And that was when I went back to school and got my bachelor's and master's degrees, because in my head it was like, okay, I can be a little old lady and be a teacher at a university if I have a master's degree. So that was my reasoning at that time. And now I see, no, I don't have to be a little old lady, teaching. If I have the answers I need now, I could end up living a very comfortable lifestyle and travel and do all the things I want to do in my older age, without it being, oh yeah, you're working, at the teaching or at the grocery store, like I see so many people.
Well, that's very insightful, Tammy, and unfortunately that is the case. See, it's not your fault, and it's not anybody's fault. It's just the way it is. We grow up, we get into our careers, we're advisors, we're CPA. A CPA, they're either an audit CPA or they're a tax return CPA. I mean, there's 722,000 plus CPAs in our country, but over half of them are doing auditing. They're not studying strategies. And the other ones are trying to keep up with a 22,000 page tax code. So it's no one's fault. But when I discovered this and I sat with, individuals, and I realized what was happening after about 10 years, I just couldn't take it anymore. I was trying to solve it one at a time. And I would sit with you and we would figure it out, and I would introduce you to someone who could do that. Because if I have an idea and I know a strategy and I'm only in the business 5 years, this was a long time ago, then I would take you to somebody who has more experience, but I would watch and make sure that you were getting everything you were supposed to get. We would work together as a team for your benefit. Mm-hmm. So the team that I have assembled are individuals that, not even everybody on the team. If one person has a strategy, that doesn't mean one of my other teammates knows it already. But you're going to know it. My customer, my client is going to know it, and then this person is going to put it in place for you. I'm the messenger. These individuals, the professionals that are on my team, they're in the same situation. A lot of them haven't heard for their clients that there's a deduction just went from 1.1 million to 2.2 million for companies that do $5 million or more in business. And we may be speaking to some of them through this. If you're listening to this and you do $5 million or more with a company, we can actually show you how to take a $2.2 million deduction, create an entity, pay the premium to that entity, and then a year later, those funds, you're only going to get taxed at 20% instead of 40%. Yet when I speak to the owners of that company, they tell me that in spite of that strategy being as powerful as it is, there's only 1 out of every 10 people that are qualified to do it that actually have it, because they can't get the word out fast enough. You see what I'm saying about getting the information out?
Right. And that's why you are a true educator, advocate, and a leader in this field. And I was thinking when you said you're the messenger, because one of the platforms I stand on is about big message, big mission. And a lot of people I talk with have these powerful big messages, and they have these huge missions. Like you said, you want to help 1 million people become financially empowered. And I think that that's really important. And I'll invite you back another time, because I'm sure we can have more discussions about other things that you're doing. So if you could repeat how people can reach out to you, I'd really appreciate that. And then, of course, I would love it if you have any final advice for our listeners.
Well, it's my first name, Charles, and then the 4 letters of our system is Wealth and Freedom Empowerment System. So WF, like freedom, E, empowerment, S, system. CharlesWFES.com. I made it as simple as possible, right? Because my last name's hard to spell, so you don't want that. It's just CharlesWFES.com. That'll take you to a page where there'll be a video of me, and you can book an appointment there. Okay. What I would encourage people to do is to look for what's missing. Go get a second opinion. Start asking. Obviously, I want you to go to CharlesWFES.com so that I can share with you whatever is going to help you. You see, we may put together information for you and give it to you. You don't have to do it with us. You can go back and do it with your own folks. But if you don't know that you don't know, that's what I'm encouraging you to do, is get a second opinion on everything that involves your money, everything that involves protection. Get actively involved instead of just putting more effort into making money, into keeping more of the money you make, because there's only so many hours in a day. I mean, have you ever wondered what it would be like? Sleep Number has a great ad on TV these days. It's like, have you ever wondered what it would be like to wake up in the morning with unbounded energy to do whatever you want, whenever you want? I see that and I go, yeah, I want that. Well, who doesn't? But if we're overworking, we should be overflowing. We should be overflowing with information, not overworking. And that's what I want to help people do, is get the stress down, get the information that you know is there, but you don't know where. Well, you can come here to CharlesWFES.com, or you can ask your existing professionals, what are we missing? Isn't there another way? Is another way to do this? Either way, get involved and you won't regret it. You'll have more time, money, and energy sooner than you think. And your retirement will look better than it does now.
Well, I like that. It's not what you make, it's what you keep. That's something that's been spinning in my head. So everyone, we've been speaking with Charles Theisen, the business empowerment specialist. Thank you so much, Charles. I really appreciate all the time.
Thank you, Tammy.
Thank you. Everyone, go make it a beautiful day.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.